This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code GOLF SGPN. The Sports Gambling Podcast is back with their 32-team NFL previews. They're also bringing back the phrase that pays. Each episode, they'll give out one word of a 32-word phrase. Submit the phrase for a chance to win a $1,000 circa future. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Your place to bet on every single sport. They accept customers from all over. Easy deposit, lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head to MyBookie.ag, promo code GOLF SGPN for a deposit match up to $1,000. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code GOLF SGPN. And finally, Rhythm. You've heard us talk about Rhythm plenty of times. The essential tool is here. Power Trends, AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won at a high ROI. Think about a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hits a certain range. The MLB Power Trends are 254 and 147. That's a win rate of 63%. So download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm will get you a 7-day free trial. We're back. Dom and I, final PGA Tour regular season event. Bittersweet, but we came all this way. What event did we start with? Do you remember? Was it the fall?
We started with RSM, I think, in the fall.
Wow. Yeah, around there. I think actually the week before RSM. I think we talked about Mav 2 straight weeks and then you hit Mav. I think that was
That's
what it
right.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. What a season it's been. But yeah, so we're back, and first thing we're going to touch on the 3M Open, and all the time we will Vic Lab when we were right, and I will put my hand up and own it when I'm wrong. I gave Kurt a real bad rap on the show last week, but that's the life of being a takesman. That's the life of being a pod man. Like, you're going to say things that are wrong. If I was right all the time, I would be retired and extremely rich, but that's not the case. But touch
also,
on
were
Kurt.
you wrong? I mean, all you did was throw a
I
stat
stated a
out there.
fact. Yeah.
So, I mean, trends are meant to be broken. It happens in every sport. I mean, you look at a trend of, uh, say, like a 30-year-old running back has never rushed for X amount of yards. And then once it does, okay, now there's an
He did it.
outlier.
Yeah. No,
So,
you're not
Kurt
wrong. You're
had
not
never
wrong.
shot 20 under. He did it, and he won.
Yeah, I wasn't saying Kurt couldn't. I was simply just saying what the stat was.
Yeah.
But I still got some shit for it, and I deserved it. You got to praise me when I'm right and shit on me when I'm wrong. Like, I can live. I could take it. I could take it. But shout out Kurt. That was an unbelievable
Yeah.
performance at the 3M Open. Like, that weekend, he had 20 something birdies over the weekend. Like, who's beating that? Truly,
No. Yeah.
who is beating that? It
His
was
round
insane.
on Saturday pushed him way up there, obviously, and then he followed it up on Sunday. And I had my doubts on Sunday. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't sure he would be able to follow up what he did on Saturday, and he closed it out. I mean, we know how inconsistent he's been. And speaking of when we started back in the fall, I mean, he was on a tear, and we were like, he
Mm-hmm.
just can't get it done. And he hadn't. I mean, what was it, 2022 or 2023 when he won
23 of
API?
March. Yep.
And I mean, sure, he showed it there, but at the same time, when you don't do it
Different
again,
style of
it's
golf
easy to
too.
have doubts.
Yeah, and like Kurt always is a guy who flashes with the ball striking, can gain like
Yeah.
8 strokes ball striking in any given week. The putter is always hit or miss, and I mean, not that he putt poorly, but he was just stuffing everything so close and just like having a ton of tap ins to 10 footers, and he was making enough of them clearly. But Akshay, well, we have to talk about Akshay for a little bit because I had Akshay sweat. I had him through 54 holes, around 45-1. I was feeling pretty solid heading into the weekend. He
Yeah.
was doing everything well. He was trending going into the week. He's finally gaining off the tape, finally gaining on approach consistently. And it was a matter of the putter showed up. The putter showed up through 3 rounds. The around the green was great. And then Sunday came, and the hashtag too much slice showed up out the gates.
Yeah.
Tough watch. Tough watch for the first few holes from Akshay.
Yeah. To not even really have a sweat down the stretch was like, I thought it was his to lose. Like when he was in that
He was the favorite
position.
going into Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, and we both talked about him last week of how he showed a little bit the week prior, and that he was trending in the right direction. The numbers seemed I mean, fair, and then yeah, like you said, just couldn't put it together right out of the gate.
No, I totally agree. And it's funny because Akshay has shown dog before. He's shown the ability to like win in those scenarios, but also if I'm gonna have a ticket on you, if I'm gonna have a bet on you, do what you did, Akshay. Like, I appreciate you just ejecting out of the gates on Sunday, freed up the
Yeah.
rest of my afternoon. I was ready to lock in on the couch and just watch 5 hours of golf. And then Akshay did what he did. I was like, all right, I'm gonna track the golf on my phone, watch it a little bit when I can, but I'm gonna go run some
Yeah.
errands and do whatever else I have to do. So if you're gonna do that, Akshay, if you're gonna lose like that, don't be stupid and do what Tommy Fleetwood did if you had him at the Travelers, because that's just massive heartbreak. Much rather lose in an eject fashion 10 times out of 10.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's get into the Wyndham Championship, but more specifically, we are going to talk about some FedEx Cup standings, talk about some potential narratives, who has to do what, who's in position to make a move, not make a move. So we see Tony Finau at 60, and then we have William Mao, recent winner, recent great golfer at 80. So obviously, top 70 gets into Memphis, which is next week. So we have a lot to play for this week in terms of more
Yeah.
just outright. This is going to be a good segment for potential placements, potential matchups. So maybe a little bit of different structure of the show this week. We're going to talk about some guys in this range, and then we'll go from there. So from this 10 from 60 to 70 list, does anyone in this range really catch your eye? Because I know a few do for me.
Um, I always like to look at this just because I guess there's always something to play for. Like these guys aren't going there to every event not trying to win, but at the
Right,
same time, when your PGA Tour cards at stake, like a lot of these rookies, those are a couple guys that I would probably single out, who are right around that range. Like, I mean, I'm I'm shocked Rasmus is at 82. I guess I shouldn't be,
right. I mean,
but
he had a great start, and then he kind of just like did nothing else after that. I think the what was it? Waste Management was his last like really good week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Davis Thompson is one that I will definitely have an eye on, and I'll get to him a little bit more once we get down the odds board. But really, it's caught up to a lot of these guys who were in
Yeah.
3 or 4 majors, and then all of a sudden it's the end of July, early August, and they're like, I'm not in the FedEx Cup playoffs right now. Like, I'm sure a lot of people don't pay attention to this list. Hand up, I don't really check it throughout the year. I feel like we
I
have
mean, we
so
have no
much.
reason to.
Right. We have so much else going on with what majors next and what events this week. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is it. Like top 70 are in the St. Jude next week, and the rest um, pretty much have to play the fall swing
Right.
to
No,
stay in the
and
top 125, because we saw last year where a lot of guys who were comfortably inside that top 125 and couldn't get caught by some of these younger guys in the fall, just weren't playing because they knew that they had status as a top 125. But once that reshuffles, I mean, 71 through 125 are up for grabs after this week.
yeah. So in this range that we're talking about right now, there's definitely a few guys that catch my eye. You mentioned Rasmus, but Alex Smalley, I really think could have a good week this week for a few reasons, which I'll touch on. I mean, there's Nikolai as well, and then Nico Echeverria, but Alex Smalley has decent results here, and believe it or not, this is his home golf course. This is where he plays his golf all year round when he is not on the road traveling. So, and when you think of what Alex Smalley does well, it's hit fairways, stripe irons, and putt Bermuda. That's exactly what you have to do at Sedgefield. So he's very used to his conditions, and I think this is a great week for him to make a cut and have potentially his best week of the season. I've been on the record for saying Alex Smalley will never win on the PGA Tour, but I can give it a go at Sedgefield. I feel like the only place I can really not
Yeah.
confidently, but actually give him a run. We've seen him get in the mix multiple times in his career. We know what he can do ball striking wise, and I don't. But the position he's in, he needs a massive week here. Obviously, a win would do numbers, but he is on the outside looking in right now, 77. So he needs to jump a few names who are all in this field clearly.
Thor Bjornson's another. I mean, he's right there. Adam
What do you make
Scott.
of Thor Bjornsson last week? Because he was chalky, very chalky. I thought he wasn't going to
Yeah.
be chalky. He was, and
Yeah, and I
not
feel like
great.
that's just gonna kind of be where he's at, especially if he's showing any flashes. I think people
Mm,
are gonna kind of gravitate towards him at any number, and we have seen that. Like last week, his number was pushed up pretty high. I think we both talked about like, yeah, good betting him, but not at a number like this.
right.
A guy who I would expect to win eventually on the tour, and I think if he plays through the fall, he should have no problem staying within that top 125. But definitely needs a good showing this week to get inside the
And
top 70.
I honestly don't. I'm not too upset with Thorbjornson's like result last week. TPC Twin Cities is a very volatile course. You missed two spots in the wrong spot. 2 shots in the wrong spot, you're making a 7, and then your week is over. And
Yeah.
like if he could have had that bad swing on a hole without water, and then he would have been made a bogey maybe, and had who knows, he could have had a good weekend. So I'm not taking too many poor results from TPC Twin Cities. He's been playing well. I think this is a good spot for him. Like remember what he did at TPC River Highlands? I think that's a great comp for Sedgefield this week. Kind of tight off the tee, hit your spots, and be good with your middle irons and wedges. Thorbjornsen can do that, and we've seen like the young gun bombers play really well on like shorter tracks to start their career. Like remember even Clanton last year, he had a crazy run at this event on Sunday. So I agree with you on Thorbjornsen, and then another guy I like here, and a veteran, Chris Kirk. He just showed great form at
Yeah.
Detroit, another Donald Ross course, and Chris Kirk is one of the true Bermuda men of the world. Like you go into the Publix down in Florida, and everyone's talking about Chris Kirk. He lives and breathes Bermuda grass, and that's what we have here. So I'm definitely down for Chris Kirk on the outside looking in. What is his betting number now that I say that? 100-1, Chris Kirk. He's a winner. Chris Kirk is a winner.
He can at least mix. We know that.
Yeah, I might be on Chris Kirk for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, you want to? What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, basically, if you have even tiebreakers or whatever, pull up the FedEx Cup standings. Like I said, a lot of people probably don't even go to this page on the PGA Tour website. From now through the end of the year, I will be checking it, and it's something that we bring up in the fall quite a bit, because it does hold a lot more weight with the FedEx Cup fall standings. That was what, this will be the 3rd year of it. I believe somewhere in there.
Well,
but
the official FedEx Cup fall, I guess this is the 3rd year.
Right.
It's always the same events, but I know
it's
you're
either the 3rd or 2nd where they can mix around, but I think this will be the 3rd year. So either way,
it's
something
so
to keep an eye on. Like I said, if you have tiebreakers or you want extra incentive or push a guy over the edge, I mean, definitely something to keep in mind.
For sure. So we have a very fun odds board, in my opinion, this year. We're starting at around 22-1 on DraftKings. With Matt Fitzpatrick. I'm not going to name all these names, but since we touched on a few guys already, let's just open this range from like 20 to 50-1. A few names that you want to touch on that you like. You could start us off, and just your thoughts on the overall odds board in general.
Yeah, this is the type of odds board I think we both enjoy. Like starting in the 20s and just kind of going from there. You can kind of build your card in the middle,
Maybe.
But what's that?
Could have issues here. No?
I hear you now. There we go. We're back.
We good? All right. Odds board.
Yes. 2 guys in this range. Adam Scott, 45-1 is someone that I'm looking at. Feel like this is an Adam Scott golf course. He's had his way around Sedgefield. T7 back in 2023, and then he was part of the 6-man playoff in 2021. He was 12th in approach last week at the 3M without having a great finishing result. My concern with Scott is if he can go low enough to win this, because we've seen 15 to 20 under win over the last 4 years. So he hasn't been making a ton of birdies, but one guy I'm looking at. Another one who's right on that list with the FedEx Cup standings. He's just or right around the cusp, Ricky Fowler, 50-1.
I like Ricky. I do like Ricky.
Finally putting together some like complete rounds of golf. 3 straight cuts made, 2 top 20s. Pretty much all of his 3 events, the last 3 that he made the cut I was talking about, gained across the board. He lost around the green at the 3M, but outside of that, he's gaining pretty much everywhere, and he rates out really well for me. Top 15 in both birdie or better and par 4 birdie or better over the last 20 rounds. So Ricky Fowler, somebody that I used to bet a ton. I might get back to it 50-1.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you. I'm definitely high on Ricky Fowler this week. I'm never high on Ricky Fowler, but I do like his chances this week. Like this is a golf course that should remind him of home. Just like very straightforward, very easy, hit your spots and hopefully make a few putts. I do worry about him on the greens, truthfully. And honestly, I have the same take with Adam Scott. I don't trust those lab putter guys to like make clutch putts in the mix. Like they just don't. How often do we see a lab putt guy win? We saw Glover win this event with a lab putter. We saw JJ Spawn win the U.S. Open, but he wasn't draining birdie putts. I just those guys I feel like have those putters because they're not good putters, and I still don't trust it under the gun. And I see Ricky miss so many 4-footers. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, but I can give it a shot around 60 to 1 maybe. Like I don't I think there's worse bets to be made. I really don't mind that. Anyone else you like in this range?
Not not particularly from the top to 40. I mean, I feel like you could make the case for just about anyone in this
Yeah.
range. It's like I said, a very interesting board. I like when we start in the 20s. I think this is kind of both of our ideal board, especially when you have decent names up top actually. It's not a horrible field. And the top is
Yeah.
like sure it falls off, but it's fairly strong considering it's the Wyndham Championship.
I personally, I might start my card with Hideki Matsuyama. Truthfully,
Really?
35 to 1. He's doing nothing but stripe. Like his irons are so as good as they've been all year long. He's finally gaining strokes on the green in 3 straight starts. He's played well here before. He's got a T3, a few missed cuts, but he's always hit the ball really well here. The last 5 times has been bad, but we've seen Hideki have horrible putting weeks. Like think of the Sony Open. He was career horrible putter, and then he pops one time and wins. Hideki's generally really solid on like slopey and fast greens. That's what we have here. So I mean, I don't think anyone will fault you with starting a 30 to 1 plus on Hideki Matsuyama in a field with nobody. Matt Fitzpatrick's the favorite. The hell is Matt Fitzpatrick done?
Yeah, and if you
Like,
look at like what is he, sixth or seventh on the odds board and started off the year going what, 35 under at Tournament of Champions and a
like,
place that I'm looking at guys who can make birdie like I mean, is there anyone with upside higher than him? Because
uh,
I
I
struggle
don't
to
like win rate. No, there's no one. There's
right.
no
I'm
one.
not that's yeah.
There's really
Especially
no
who's
one.
done it as of late, like who we've
No.
at least seen it. I get it's January that he did
Yeah.
that, but still.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Okay, let's go to this next range. We'll open this from 50 to 100 now, and then we'll do triple digits. I'll start us off. I already mentioned Smalley, but I want to touch on Jackson Coiven, a golfer who fits the role of what Luke Clanton did last year. I believe I think he's trending in the right direction. He's showing some signs. He brings an elite driver to the table. And these young guys, they're ignorant with the driver. They don't care. They're hitting it. They don't have any scar tissue. They're long and straight down the middle, get hot with the wedges, hopefully find some putts on the green, which is always a concern with the younger guys. But I do like Koiven around 75 to 1 on a field like this. And also Andrew Novak, 70 to 1. This feels like a good golf course for him. He's from South Carolina, very used to Bermuda grass. And he's not overly long, but he's pretty straight, good with the middle irons, and great on and around the greens. Think about Harbour Town, asked you very similar questions. So I can get into Andrew Novak around 70 to 1. He's obviously has plenty of dog. And how great would an Andrew Novak win be to really rile up the Ryder Cup team? Who's getting that last spot if Andrew Novak wins? I could see that storyline coming.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be
So
hard to argue. It's already very congested up there, like in those
that'll
final
be
spots,
beautiful.
just because of like the guys who have popped this year, like the most
Yeah.
unexpected names pushing their way in there. But back to Koiven, like this kid a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Stud.
already, like you said, kind of like Clanton last year, where he's had limited events on tour and he's really popped. So somebody who is worth keeping an eye on, especially in the fall if he gets a couple more sponsor exemptions. Um, talked about it with the when you pulled up the FedEx Cup rankings, but Davis Thompson at 70 to 1. I have already bet this number. I held off
Great number,
last
man.
week. It is. I held off last week at not as good of a number, missed the cut. I had him in a couple DFS lineups that he tanked obviously by missing the cut, but just looking at what he's done, T12 last year, T22 the year prior at the Wyndham. I just feel like he was a guy who I had high expectations for in the 2025 season. I've already kind of expressed that over the year, but somebody who's gonna push to get into the top 70, and I don't think we've seen the last of Davis Thompson.
No, I mean he's a guy that I'm extremely high on, a super stud. I think he's going to be a top 10 player in the world at some point in his career. I have one more guy in this range too, and that's Taylor Moore. He gained strokes across the board for the first time since his T6 at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which was 2 years ago. And one thing about Taylor Moore, he is a Donnie Ross specialist. He loves these greens. He's won on Bermuda before, and he's a red state specialist, and we are in North Carolina. And last time I checked, North Carolina is a red state. So I'm in on Taylor Moore this week. He pops at these courses for whatever reason, and it's a good number. He's won before. I think you could probably get triple digits on him, but I'm seeing around 80 right now. So Taylor Moore would be my last guy in this range that I want to keep an eye on.
My last one that I have also placed a bet on, Vince Whaley, 100
Ooh,
to 1.
Vince.
100 to 1 with the top six each way. Vince
Okay.
Whaley's made 10 straight cuts, five top 25s, including a T7 this year at Corrales, a T4 at the ISCO. Gained,
He's an alt man.
he
He
is.
loves the alt events.
He is. The approach has been nice. Last week at the 3M, he ranked 10th in the field, gaining over 5 strokes on approach. Didn't putt well, but he does putt well historically on Bermuda. I looked
Okay.
at since 2023, he ranks third in the field, strokes gained putting on Bermuda. Like I said, putting's recently kind of been holding him back, but getting him on a surface that he's had some success on, the way his irons are, I think it could be a decent setup for Vince Whaley at 100 to 1.
Another guy I want to touch on. Well, this is transitioning to the triple digits. I think this guy's better for a placement than he is for an outright bet, but that's Ryo Hisatsune. He finished T3 in this event last year, and it's just purely a Rio spot. I could see him garnering a little bit of ownership because he simply was T3 last year. But like Rio is a very black and white golfer. You play him on
Yeah.
courses where you have to hit fairways and you have to be positional through the bag. That is what Rio is, and that is what I think Sedgefield is a very easy handicap. It's you know what you're getting. Bet the Bermuda guys, and Rio fits the mold in my opinion. So probably more of a positional guy for me, but I like Rio around 100 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few interesting guys around 100 to 1 who need a big push this week to get into the top 70.
Who you liking once we open it up a little bit?
Couple guys I had down for placements. Nico.
Nico, yep.
It's getting to Nico time.
It's
We're
you don't got to sell me on Nico. Trust me.
I know. The Scotty Scheffler of the fall, some people call him, but
That's what people are saying.
um, we know he can run hot with the irons, obviously. T22 at Sedgefield last year, gained across the board. Another guy who finish was horrible last week at the 3M Open, but the irons were not. Antoine Rosner was fifth in approach, gained almost 7 strokes. Did nothing else. He was dead last around the green and bottom 3 in putting.
Dude, that's crazy. Rosner's a cut maker that he is making.
So he is.
So
He's strung together quite a few in a row as well.
yeah,
Both Nico and Rosner are guys I will probably look at in the top 40 market.
I'm with you there. I have one more around 100 to 1. Can he make a putt? That's Doug Gim. I mean, Doug Gim has gained off the tee and approach nearly like every single week of his life, but the putter is so hit or miss. He's had a few showings of okay putting around Sedgefield. 2 of the 6 he's gained putting, but one of those weeks was a -9 week on the greens. I don't know if I could do it outright wise, but I think Doug Gim can make you some money just basically based off striping alone.
Yeah.
So he's another guy I want to give a look to around 100 to 1. Anyone else you want to touch on?
What about William Mao?
Is he going to keep? I mean, we see guys string together good. Like, look at Chris Goddard right now. Like,
Like just you find something and
purely
you
like
just ride
a
it
top 30 bet. Yeah. Why wouldn't we go to William Al? He's 100
because
to 1.
what did he finish last week? He was top 10, right?
He's, yeah, definitely top 10.
Off of a win the week prior, and he's still outside of that top 70 because
T7,
he
yeah.
couldn't have
He's
started worse.
striping. Holy shit. He's gained both off the tee and approach in 5 straight starts. And he's hot in the greens.
100 to 1.
100 to 1. Don't
I can
overthink
get
it.
100 to 1 top 6 each way.
It's a true don't overthink it situation with William Al right now.
I saw something on the PGA's website. I think he needs a solo 11th or better to get in the top 70.
I think he could do that.
Yeah.
William Al's a stud. He was a stud in college. He was
And he's feeling himself.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you there. All right, let's wrap it back around. We'll do three outrights, three positionals because there's no matchups up quite yet. I will start us out. I will go to a guy that I did not touch on yet. I wanted to wait, but I'm seeing around 60 to 1 plus on the Enigma, Cameron Young. I love Cameron Young when you have to hit wedges close. I think he's truly one of the most underrated wedge players on tour. But the stats might say he's great with the wedges, but he doesn't get touted as being a great wedge player. He gets touted as being a great driver and ball striker and low dog player. Remember Cam Young last year was around the lead through 54 holes through like the early on Sunday, and then he absolutely ejected beyond belief. Checks out. That's Cameron Young. But 66 to 1. Cameron Young showed some flashes this year. I think this is a great chance for him to get back into the mix on a golf course that he's played well before.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna start my card with Ricky Fowler at 55 to 1. It
Rick,
looks like the number has gotten up to. Like I said, I don't think neither of us really mention him too often on the show. But he's
no,
finally starting to put together a couple rounds of golf, gaining across the board in the last three events that he's made the cut. Two of those were top 20s, so I'm gonna go Ricky Fowler at 55, and then right behind him with Davis Thompson at 70.
like that.
Miscut last week. Both Ricky Fowler and Davis Thompson have something to play for to get inside that top 70 to head to St. Jude next week. So that's where I'm going with my first two.
All right, I'll go to triple digits again, 110 to 1. Austin Eckroat, he's really hitting the ball well again. He started hitting the ball well around the Travelers Championship, and he showed some form. Played great at TPC Deer Run, played great at the Travelers. Another T40 last week with a over 5 strokes ball striking, did not putt well. But last year he finished solo 6 here, gained strokes across the board. This is surely an Austin Eckroat golf course. He's obviously a winner on Bermuda before at the at PGA National. So I'm definitely down for Austin Eckroat 110 to 1. Not really sure why this number is where it is. So Austin
Yeah.
Eckroat 110 to 1. Who is your last guy?
And my last guy is going to be Vince Whaley. I already
Vince.
mentioned I bet him top six each way. But I think I'm going to add William Mao to that too. I'm going to
Okay.
take both of them with a top six each way. But back to Whaley, 10 straight cuts made, five top 25s out of that. So half of them he's finishing inside the top 25, couple top 10 finishes this season. And then just looking at his approach from the 3M, where he ranked 10th in the field, gaining over 5 strokes. Hopefully, he can keep his irons hot and continue his hot putting on Bermuda.
I'm okay. I have one more. He's 250 to 1. That is Jackson Suber. Showed some signs recently.
Birdie
Great,
maker.
yeah, great approach recently. And his two best putting results of the year were in Hawaii on Bermuda, Sony Open, great comp, and at Detroit, Donald Ross. So combine those two things, we get Donnie Ross and Bermuda. Jackson Suber should be licking his chops. 250 to 1. He's showed the ceiling to top 5, top 10, get in the mix, have super low rounds. So I'm down for Suber. He's from Florida and he went to school at Ole Miss, I believe. So he's definitely used to these conditions. I'm down for Jackson Suber.
I think Jackson Suber ranked very highly on Corn Ferry last year in
Yeah, for
birdies
sure.
made,
I
like
think so
top
too.
three.
I think so.
So
I
there we
do.
go.
All right, positionals. You want to start us off with any of these?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nico Etch and Antoine Rosner top 40s.
Okay.
Like I said, hopefully Rosner can continue the hot irons. If he can do anything on and around the greens, I think he cashes a top 40 pretty easily. He's kind of been a top 40 machine with all the cuts he's made, but unfortunately, not every cut that he makes is a top 40. So just seeing the hot irons, I'm going to hope that Rosner can keep it going, and Nico, I don't have to sell you on.
All right, I'll give you two real quick. I'll start with Steven Yeager, 4 to 1 on the top 20. Yeager's been playing some really poor golf, but I think this is a good buy spot, like buy low spot. He's top 22 of the 5 times he's played this event. And like when Jaeger's going, he has the ceiling to win, and and everyone knows that.
Yeah,
So I just think it's got to turn around sooner than later. So I'm gonna give Jaeger a top 20, and then I'll throw in Doug Im 3.5 to 1. I already talked about him. I don't really love him for an outright because I don't trust the putter, but he should stripe it solid enough for him to finish inside the top 20. Hopefully. Do you have another position, or is that all?
Um, that is all.
I got one more. I'm gonna go with Bud Cauley, top 20 to plus 250. Great season. He's had a great season this year. Great resurgence season after returning from injury, and this is a great spot to round it out, in my opinion, because this golf course asks the questions that Bud Cauley is great at. He's got great finishes at PGA National, CPC Sawgrass. What you want to do is what you want to do around Sedgefield too. So Bud Cauley, top 20 plus 250.
Love it.
Love it. So that does it. That wraps it up. Those are the Wyndham Championship picks and bets. We will catch you next week for the playoffs. I'll be back most likely tomorrow afternoon for the DFS picks. And Dom, thank you for joining. Catch you guys next week.
See ya.
Peace.